Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Eli. So today I'm going over the number 7 here in my master document, and these are the growth conditions for e-commerce brands. And there's going to be a quick summary or a quick thesis on why I think some brands outperform other brands in terms of SEO. They could be doing the same exact things at the same pace, and then some brands will just get far better results than the others. And that's coming from my experience working with more than 50 brands in the last 2 years. And most of the brands that actually had these 3 factors that I'm going to talk about here, even though we did the same exact strategy, same exact concept, some of them just leaped in growth, and then the others were just getting incremental results, like 5% here, 10% there, and 15% there. But then the ones that got like 500% growth in 6 months in terms of organic revenue and really like have a really big impact on their brand, almost all of them had these 3 factors in common. And that led me to think that, okay, there's something more than just the SEO strategy here that's coming into play for driving results fast. And I'm just going to go over it, explain it to you guys, and after that I'm going to give you a little bit of a time frame so you guys can understand how these impacts the results and your SEO campaign. So let's get started. So growth conditions for e-commerce brands. Several factors influence your SEO process. The first is paid advertising spend, especially Google ads, which can accelerate the rate at which Google validates your pages. By pushing paid traffic, signals are collected faster and factored in organic rankings. So how usually Google works is that when you're optimizing your site, some pages, Google will pick them up, will rank them well, and then it will test out how users are interacting with that page. Is there like strong green signals when people are landing on that page, especially like the bounce rate, the session rate, the conversion rate. All of these metrics are taken into consideration, especially if you have analytics set up, because everything, and that's something I am deducting. It's not something that people like, it's not like documented. It's more like from my own experience. I think that Google Search Console, Google Analytics, Google Tag Manager, all of these Google properties feed into the same cloud and feed into the same business entity. So when Google is looking into the metrics in Google Analytics and then sees that they ranked you for an organic page and that the organic page is actually doing well and fulfilling the right user intent for that keyword, what it does, it validates this page. It either boosts its ranking or it brings another page and then boosts its ranking. But that process happens very slowly, organically. When you're running Google ads, what you're doing is you're pushing Google to send this traffic and you're pushing Google to farm these signals. If your pages are doing well and they're converting well and people are actually staying on the page, browsing it, and then going over it, what's happening is that Google is taking the same signals that it's getting from paid traffic and then applying the same consequences from Google ads to actual organic search. And then what's happening there is that you run Google ads, you get paid traffic, Google validates that paid traffic on that page, then that page gets a score inside of Google Index, and then it gets pushed up quicker than waiting for organic rankings. And that's why what I've seen in the last 2 years is that every single brand that was running Google ads had better results in the long term and in the short term than the brands that did not run Google ads. And that's kind of like something I consider a pillar in my SEO campaign, because that's going to be like a break it or make it type scenario. So yeah, that's the first one. I hope you guys understood it. That was like a 4-minute rant. So all right. So next thing is brand searches. Every time someone types your brand name in the search and proceeds to click on your site, Google attributes more authority towards your brand, which helps you build more equity on the search. This is a huge, especially for gearing up against industry giants like Amazon, Macy's, and Target. So every time that somebody goes on the search and then types your brand name and then they click on their website, that's a very positive signal to Google, and that builds authority over time, because now Google assumes that this brand is real, and then the signals are coming from external sources, right? And they are looking for that specific brand. So what's happening there is that Google is giving you more authority than a dropshipping brand that has no brand or no name, right? And it's kind of like pushing you out there. Now, usually the brand search, it spills out when you're doing advertising, or maybe it's a very well-known brand, but mainly what's happening is that when you're running meta ads or whatever ads, that same audience will come to Google and search for you, and that's how you start building your brand equity on search. And that's going to play a major role later down the road when you're competing against dropshippers, against people that don't really have like an actual brand. So that's the second factor that I take into consideration. Then a store with a brand, or it's a dropshipping store that's just trying to make a quick buck. Now the catalog size, and that's pretty much what I've like the biggest impact that comes from it. And that's pretty much what I'm saying here is the size and depth of your catalog will dictate search opportunities and total market potential. The more products you have, the easier for us to niche down collections based on different variations, and the easier for us to not mention external products in our blog tutorials, since we have enough inventory to mention and link back to our own listings. So let me recap this or make it like easy for you to understand. The more product you have in your inventory, the more opportunities you can go after, because if you have more products, you can deduce more collections from this collection of products. And then the second thing is that when you're building your blog tutorials, you have enough product listings for you to refer back to your website. So for example, if you write a blog that is a top 10, like let's say top 20 Gatsby shoes, for example, and then you have 20 different variations of that shoe, you can link these products in your blog tutorial affiliate style blog, and then you're not going to have to link to external sources or to Amazon or whatever. So you're pretty much referring all of the traffic to your website instead of referring to other websites. So yeah, the number of collections will dictate how many opportunities, how many bottom of funnel opportunities that you can go after, and then of course it's going to dictate how big of a blog you can actually build. So these are the three conditions for exponential growth. And this is the qualification process that we ran every brand through. Here's the rough guideline on how we sort out the prospects. So this is where the SEO timeframes and how these factors affect it, and how I come in and then manage the expectation for a client that want to work with me. So if he has, let's say, one factor, which is either brand equity, product catalog, or Google ad spend, it's going to take more than 180 days for me to generate results. If they don't have any of them, I'm not taking it as a client because I don't think I can help them. So one factor, I'll be like, yo, client, you need to wait 180 days for you to actually get any results if you just like depend on one of these things. The second scenario is a brand has two of these. Either it has Google ads and then it has brand equity, or it has product catalog, or it has Google ads, like any combination there, right? This is a medium term results. I think I can get them like results between 120 days to 180 days. So it's like, okay, it's a fair amount of time for them to wait based on their situation. But then in the best ideal scenario that I want to work with, like the brands that I actually want to work with, must have all these three. And that's where I can guarantee results within 120 days, because I've got a lot of opportunities to work on. Like I've got a fast feedback loop from Google ad spend, and I've got authority to work with, which is brand equity. So this is a graph real quick, very simple graph here. The less factors you have playing into your SEO campaign, the more time it's gonna take. And that's pretty much what the video is about. I'm trying to make it as easy as possible, but that's like the three things where it's outside of an SEO specialist hands, and that pretty much will affect your SEO campaign and kind of like put a lot of emphasis on how fast we are delivering the results. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this breakdown, and let me know if you have any questions. I'll reply to them in the comments. Peace.